Black Clover Chapter 324. Today we talk about why the importance of grimoires is emphasized in the last chapters, with Patri talking about his 5-leaf clover grimoire, the grimoire of the devils, and now with Lucifero getting annoyed at the mere sight of a grimoire, and much more. Also, only small percentage of the people who watch our videos are actually subscribed, so if you end up liking this video, consider subscribing. Please enjoy this video, let's go! This new Black Clover Chapter 324 picks up shortly after the moment when Zora blocked Lucifero's attack. We see Lucifero and Zora clash with their fists. Obviously, Lucifero couldn't do anything because Zora's trap magic, which envelops his entire body, takes Lucifero's power and returns it directly to Lucifero, possibly even doubling the amount of energy. What's very interesting here is the fact that Lucifero noticed Zora's grimoire and got angry about it. This says a lot. First, there are no grimoires in the underworld, so devils cannot possess grimoires unless they manage to obtain a pitch black grimoire, for which they would first have to find a way out of the underworld, then wait hundreds of years for a worthy person to obtain a grimoire that can turn black due to the owner's desperation, and only then can they use their grimoire. I purposely didn't mention the 4-leaf clover because it's a bit odd that only clover grimoires should be able to turn black, so I suppose there could be special grimoires for the other kingdoms as well, and the only reason we haven't seen any of them yet is simply because they are extremely rare, because consider that only 4 known 4-leaf clover grimoires go back 500 years. Even though Patri and Elf Yuno, that is Lichtsun, received their 4-leaf clover grimoires in the current decade, it doesn't change the fact that they would have received their 4-leaf clover grimoire 500 years ago if the Elf massacre hadn't happened. What I'm saying is that we have not heard of any 4-leaf clover grimoire that does not have its origin from 500 years ago. So of course, if there's something like that in the other 3 kingdoms, it is extremely rare. Maybe once in a century if you are very lucky, but more like once or twice in a millennium or 500 years. That sounds more realistic. So yes, the chance of a devil actually getting a so-called pitch black grimoire is very small. The fact that Lucifero is annoyed at the mere sight of a grimoire could be due to the envy of not being able to control a grimoire as such a powerful godlike being, which is pretty much the standard of every single human except for Asta. And now if you think about what we have mentioned in our last additional Black Clover review, we mentioned that we have a pretty good sense of when Tabata is highlighting certain panels and moments in the manga to make them important in the near future. What we meant by that is that he loves to build certain things up slowly by starting to talk more about a certain topic so that his readers get used to it, and thus it builds up some tension around this topic so that the main reveal hits very well. And in the last chapter, it was very strange that Patri suddenly started talking about his 5-leaf clover grimoire. We suspected that grimoires related to devils would gain importance in the coming chapters, and just as we predicted, this is indeed the case in the next chapter of Black Clover, in which Lucifero is now annoyed by a grimoire. Once again, Tabata is highlighting the theme of grimoires related to devils, something that will be revealed in the near future. It could be that Lucifero will get a grimoire, for example by forcing Yuno into deep despair, or maybe Patri's grimoire will be reintroduced somehow. Or maybe there's a very old 5-leaf clover grimoire somewhere, or a pitch black grimoire from another kingdom. I mean, Zagrid knew the legend of the Black Clover, so there must have been other pitch black grimoires that appeared before the time of Lumiere and Licht. Let's just see how this will develop. Back to the Black Clover Chapter 324. So Zora was able to push Lucifero back, which gave Yami and Nacht the best chance to attack, and they jumped right into the fight. What's interesting here is how Nacht and Yami combine their magic. Yami activated his Black Moon. For those who have a hard time remembering what the Black Moon actually does, since it's been quite a while since we have seen Yami in action with this technique, it's basically a technique based on Mana Zone. It seems like the Black Moon allows Yami to use a portable Mana Zone in which he controls his dark magic. The main purpose seems to be the absorption of magic. Yami of course is able to distinguish what is being absorbed by the spell. For example, he can erase an enemy's spell while leaving an ally's untouched. untouched, which is why everyone in Yami's mana zone can move freely, without being affected by Lucifero's gravity magic. But Nacht does something completely new. He's even able to combine his magic with Yami's black moon. Yami's black moon is basically like his dark magic black hole, but for his entire mana zone. And the black hole absorbs everything, even light itself, which is the reason black holes are black. It's the perfect complement for Nacht's shadow magic since it has no light source. So Nacht can use the black moon for his shadow magic. This makes Nacht the only one who can combine his magic so perfectly with Yami's. Before my partner continues with Black Clover Chapter 324, please take a moment to leave a like, because it helps us a lot to create more and better Black Clover content for you. And don't forget to check out the videos in the comments, especially the video about Yami's new devil form, since we won't repeat all these things again in this review. But they are very important since Yami's devil body was mentioned in this new Black Clover chapter again.
Then we see a flashback that confirms our suspicions that Nacht has literally been always watching the Black Bulls. We've already seen how Nacht knew about Asta and his life, but we suspected that he was actually literally spying on them for some reason. We know that Nacht didn't actually care about them. They had often been in near-death situations, but Nacht never intervened. So there could be a reason why Nacht was watching the Black Bulls, which of course could have to do with his interest in Asta, unless it's a complete personality change and turns out that Nacht actually always cared, which is unlikely. There's definitely more to Nacht's backstory than what has been revealed so far. But back to the chapter, Nacht creates a shadow palace that looks a bit like a city of physically manifested shadows. He says that the darkness spreads its shadows and the shadows creates the darkness, which is exactly what we explained earlier in this video, that Nacht's shadow magic and Yami's dark magic are a perfect match. Then we see Yami use a brand new spell called Dark Magic D Black Blade, with which he manages to hit Lucifero. Lucifero then looks at his arm and sees a small scratch that immediately begins to heal.
Now that's a lot of damage!
All that mana, all those combinations and stamina, all that for just a tiny drop of blood. I think we should explain why we haven't paid too much attention to the meaning of the name Mistelten. A lot of people have focused way too much on the mythology behind the name, believing that this weapon will be the ultimate weapon that will defeat Lucifero. The bottom line is that Mistelten is a sword from a legendary saga from Iceland. In a Danish historical paper called the Gestad Bonorum, it is mentioned that this sword managed to injure Baldur, an invincible being in Norse mythology. And the conclusion is that this invincible person was defeated by a magic sword called the Mistelten. So basically the only weapon that could hurt him. But we have already seen Lucifero get hurt by Asta. We have even seen Lucifero himself admit that he can be defeated by humans. And then thought of Zora, who was able to fully counter his attack. Yuno didn't even use his Saint stage yet, so he definitely will be able to injure Lucifero as well. This sword that Yami used is not a legendary sword in the traditional sense, as it's in the mythology, because it's just a spell. William can make hundreds of these swords if he has enough mana. The reason why this attack left a small scratch on Lucifero's arm is that it is a combination of 3 magic abilities, probably even 3 arcane abilities combined: World Tree magic, Shadow magic, and Dark magic. Moreover, Yami confirmed when he fought Zagreus that he dodged Yami's attacks, unlike all the other attacks. So it's obvious that dark magic is quite effective against devils. But nevertheless, with all their power, they didn't manage to seriously hurt Lucifero. But what they did achieve is that Lucifero recognized humans as creatures who have the ability to defeat him. He then became calm and moved on to his next stage, and then reveals his plan to destroy all humanity on Earth. Then we see Sekirei healing Asta, who then joined Yuno, Yami, and Nacht, all of them standing in front of Lucifero's new form, ready to face him in the next and possibly final round. It's noticeable that Lucifero's new form is very similar to Asta's Devil Union Black Guardian. If you compare the two, you will see what I mean. Even the markings have some similarity. Maybe there's something about the Black Guardian that resembles Lucifero's form, or maybe it's just the way Tabata draws certain devils. By speaking of marks on Lucifero's body, when we first saw the scar on his body, we said two things. If the scar doesn't change shape, then it's a scar. But if it does changes in the next transformation, then it most likely has something to do with his manifestation, because it looks similar to the spear that Lucifero's 50% manifestation hatched from. And now it looks like those black lines are running towards the center, making it seem like there will be some kind of symbol after Lucifero achieves his full transformation, which then again is similar to Asta's Black Guardian. Nevertheless, we should not forget the possibility of a scar, just in case it is still on Lucifero's body. What stands out is that it really has the feeling that the final battle is taking place at the moment, similar to what happened against Zagrid when everyone fought him individually at first, but then the whole group was ready for the final battle together. Of course, we are all waiting for Noel to join in as well, but in general, you get the feeling that this could be the final battle of this arc, as indicated in the manga with the words "the final battle, fight to death." This obviously gives us the feeling that the next chapters will conclude the Spade Kingdom arc. Obviously, this arc won't end with Lucifero simply being defeated, and that's it. If they really manage to defeat him somehow, which is hard to believe considering he is a proclaimed king of the underworld, we still have a Dramalek whose intentions have not yet been revealed. We have the fourth Zogratis sibling, Julius's mysterious connection to the Clifford tree, and many more unanswered questions that have yet to become relevant. How much more struggle can humans endure? There is only so much healing and mana food left. Mimosa can't heal people forever, and Charmy can't produce an infinite amount of mana food. At some point, they won't be able to keep on fighting. But there are still so many villains to come and so many secrets to be uncovered. Regardless of whether this battle is really the last battle against Lucifero for now, the dangerous tension would not stop. Let us know in the comments below what you think will happen after the battle against Lucifero, and make sure to check out yesterday's theory about Yami's coming devil form. It's a really good video and very important for this review and for all future Black Clover chapters. So that's it for today, folks. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to smash the like button, and if you're new to our channel, make sure you subscribe with the notification bell turned on. See you guys in the next video. Yami out.